Chosen one today is the 15th of June. This is not a common day. This is not a fleeting date on the world's calendar. It is a sacred intersection in eternity, foretold before time, inscribed in the hidden scrolls of heaven, long before your heart ever began to beat. You did not stumble upon this message by coincidence. Every step you have taken, every quiet longing you have carried, every unspoken ache and breathless hope within you has been divinely choreographed to lead you to this exact moment. This is not merely the beginning of another month. It is the dawn of a sacred season, a holy unveiling, a divine transition where the invisible begins to take form, where the unseen hand of God lifts the hidden and sets it openly before you. Heaven has been stirred. A meeting took place above your head, one not requiring your presence yet focused entirely on your destiny. In the hours when you slept, when you doubted, when you pressed forward in silence, divine motion surrounded you. Angels were summoned, delays were weighed and re-examined, and now the seal has been broken. A message is being loosed not to pacify your weight, but to declare your arrival, not to numb the pain of your wilderness, but to trumpet that the time of fulfillment has begun. You are no longer being told to hold on. You are now being summoned to step in. You have waited with reverence. You have endured with grace without demanding applause. While others walked away, you remained. While the world turned cold, you chose kindness, even when it cost you peace. Every silent act of obedience, each moment unseen by man, was not unseen by heaven. It has been recorded. The silence you mistook for delay was divine preparation. The heaviness you bore was not punishment, but evidence that destiny had begun pressing its weight upon your soul. And it felt heavy, because what is coming carries eternal weight. It is not ordinary. It is sacred. It is appointed. It is drenched in glory. So now, chosen one, open the gates of your heart. Quiet the noise of this world. Discern what is already shifting in your spiritual atmosphere, because from this moment forward you are no longer the forgotten one. You are the remembered, the redeemed, the lifted, the recognized. Heaven is exalting you, and earth is preparing to witness it. A new chapter, eternal and irrevocable, is now being written over your life, and God Himself holds the pen. Your name, the one buried under lies, slander, and silence, is being etched in gold across the halls of the Spirit, and no force on earth or in hell can erase what God has declared. This month is unlike any that came before. June is the month of breaking and rebuilding, of unlocking and unveiling. That which was stolen shall be returned. That which was delayed shall be released. That which was silenced shall now be proclaimed. God is calling you out of the margins and placing you in the center of His will. Everything shifts from here. So prepare yourself. You are not entering June the same as you were. You are stepping into it chosen, seen, summoned by divine decree. There was a moment not seen by human eyes, not spoken aloud, when your soul let out a cry so deep only heaven could interpret it. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud, but it was pure. It was holy, and it moved the very heart of God. You did not realize it then. But that sacred moment of surrender, that whisper, released from the depths of exhaustion and truth, became a key in the spirit realm. It unlocked doors that your natural eyes had yet to see. You assumed nothing happened. You continued on wearing quiet disappointment. But heaven never forgot. That prayer, trembled out in silence, soaked in fragile faith, was recorded in heaven's book of remembrance. While others cried out for favor, you cried for strength. While some shouted for promotion, you whispered for clarity, for peace, for a sign that you were still seen. And heaven leaned in. Angels gathered close. God marked that moment in divine ink, and it became the hidden turning point of your future. What you thought was forgotten was actually preserved. What you thought was ignored was actually in preparation. You believed God was still deciding, but heaven had already decided. It was simply waiting for the appointed hour, and now that hour has come. That hidden moment of obedience, the one you barely remember, was more powerful than you knew. It was the kind of obedience that needs no applause, the kind that heaven always rewards. There were decisions you made that no one clapped for, moments when you could have defended yourself but chose peace, times when you could have reacted but chose restraint, seasons where running looked easier but you stayed. These were not signs of weakness, they were signs of sacred maturity. And though the world did not applaud, heaven did. Heaven saw. Heaven kept record. And now the Lord declares that final choice, that final yes, when you had every reason to walk away, moved my hand. You have been walking through a season where it felt like your sacrifices were overlooked, where your silence looked like loss. But in truth, your silence preserved you, your humility shielded you, and your unwavering loyalty, in the midst of confusion, has now triggered a divine chain reaction in the heavens. That prayer, the one you thought vanished into darkness, was not lost. It was planted, and today it begins to sprout. Before you continue, declare this aloud and in the comments. I receive this message from God. I am the chosen one. For when you speak it, heaven and earth respond, and something in the spiritual realm begins to shift. God says, because of that one act of obedience, I am now releasing what was withheld. What was delayed is now rushing. What was restrained is now loosed. What was hidden is now coming to light. This is not compensation. It is justice. This is not pity. It is promise fulfilled. As C.S. Lewis wrote, in mere Christianity, God is not hurried along in the time stream of this universe any more than an author is hurried along in the imaginary time of his own novel. He has infinite attention to spare for each one of us. This truth underscores the divine timing of your restoration. Your act of obedience has aligned with God's unhurried yet precise plan, releasing his promises with infinite care, ensuring your breakthrough unfolds exactly when intended. Do not let the quietness of your past fool you into believing it was wasted. That season of silence was your proving ground, and now the reward is being written in motion, all because you dared to believe, even when the heavens seemed silent, all because you refused to curse the process, all because your spirit whispered, "Still I trust you," and heaven heard it, heaven honored it, and heaven is now responding. While you were tending to daily life, unaware of the magnitude of what was shifting in the spirit, heaven was not still. There has been a movement, quiet, steady, unstoppable, forming around your name. You were not watching for it, but God was working for it. While you were holding on by a thread, he was weaving something vast and beautiful behind the veil. And now that veil is being pulled back. Your name has been spoken not by accident, not in passing, but with intention. It was mentioned in places of power, whispered in meetings where you were not present but fully known. Someone you once helped without recognition, someone who watched you suffer quietly, is now being stirred to speak on your behalf. They don't even fully understand why you are returning to their thoughts, but the Spirit of God is pressing your name upon their heart. They are being assigned to remember you. What you thought was forgotten is being recalled. What seemed lost in time is resurfacing with divine clarity. A gate that was long shut, sealed by jealousy, blocked by spiritual resistance, is now opening because heaven has overturned the decree. A curse once spoken in secret has expired. It no longer has legal right to hold you. You were delayed. Yes, but you were never denied. God says, I was protecting what I planned to reveal only at the right time, and that time is now. You felt overlooked. You've wondered if anyone noticed how much you endured without complaining. But God saw it, and heaven kept the record. The season of hiddenness is over. Now comes the revealing. Your name is being reintroduced not to the crowd but to the right voices, not to noise but to influence. You don't need everyone to applaud you. You only need the one ordained person to open their mouth, and the right door will swing wide. C.S. Lewis in the Screwtape Letters wrote, "There is no neutral ground in the universe. Every square inch, every split second is claimed by God and counterclaimed by Satan." This insight reveals the spiritual battle behind your delays. The gate once sealed by jealousy was a counterclaim against your destiny. But God's overturning decree reclaims your path, opening doors with divine authority. And that moment is closer than you think. Within days, perhaps even hours, you will receive a message, a phone call, a text, an invitation that will seem casual on the surface, but is deeply divine beneath. Do not dismiss it. Do not overanalyze it. It will be the first sign that the shift has begun. Behind that message is favor. Behind that favor is restoration. Behind that restoration is the hand of God reclaiming what once seemed lost. This is not random kindness. This is heaven remembering. This is divine alignment. This is prophecy fulfilling itself in real time. The name they tried to bury is about to rise. The voice they tried to silence is about to be requested. The person they thought was broken is about to be honored. And that person is you. God says, you were not wrong to love. You were not foolish to give power. You were not naive to believe. I did not let them break you. I hid you. I redirected you. I preserved you. And now I will reward you in a way that not only restores what was taken, but elevates what you didn't even know was missing. This is not a promotion. It's a resurrection. It's not a favor. It's fulfillment. Your name has been weighed in heaven, and the verdict is, it is time. There is a return coming to your life, but not a mere repetition of what was. What's being returned has been transformed, refined, multiplied, elevated. This is not about going back to what you lost. It's about receiving what you couldn't have carried back then. What was taken from you unjustly, what was withheld without reason, what was broken without explanation. God is not just giving it back. He is replacing it with something better. You once gave from a pure place and received pain in return. You opened your heart to those who used you, your time to those who drained you, your loyalty to those who never planned to stay. And when they left you questioning your own worth. But what they did not know, what even you didn't fully see, was that your generosity was a seed. Your tears watered it. Your silence fertilized it. And your continued obedience protected it. Now that seed is bearing fruit. The person who once mocked your boundaries will now need your voice. The one who dismissed your calling will now witness its full unfolding. You were not wrong for choosing righteousness. You were not weak for forgiving them. You were being honed by heaven's hand for a moment such as this. The losses you endured were not wasted. They became your altar. And from that altar a fire has risen. Not one of rage, but of glory. God says, I saw every moment they overlooked you. I heard every whisper spoken against you. I counted every tear you hid. And I did not remain still. I preserved the blessing until it could not be tainted. I protected the connection until it could not be corrupted. And now I am sending it forth not in brokenness, but in fullness. There will be a restoration that comes quietly without announcement. But when it comes, you will know it's divine. A voice will speak your name in admiration. Someone who once held back now honoring you without knowing why. A door will open that was once locked without cause. A relationship that ended in confusion will now find clarity, not so it can return as it was, but so it can be healed for what's ahead. You will not need to fight for it. The reward will come to you because of the fight you already passed. Your test is over. Your posture of grace when retaliation would have felt easier has become the key. God says, I am lifting you up with dignity. I am returning what was taken, but I am adding honor to it. What once brought you shame will now produce strength. What once made you cry will now carry your crown. This next season is not about proving your worth. It's about witnessing God's justice. Your worth was never in question in heaven, and now earth will have to align with that verdict. The same story that once wounded, you will now be the very narrative that opens doors, changes rooms, heals others, and confirms your calling. You are not just being restored, you are being redeemed. And this time, nothing will be able to steal it again. There are people who once saw you at your lowest, some in silence, some in judgment, and some with satisfaction in their eyes. They watched you struggle, questioned your value, and assumed your story had ended in disappointment. Some even spoke against your name, not knowing that heaven was listening. But God, who saw the secret motives of every heart, has turned the tables. Now the ones who watched you fall will witness your rising. This elevation will not be subtle. It will not be hidden behind closed doors. It will be seen, and it will be undeniable. But not for your glory, for God's. He is lifting you in such a way that even your enemies will have to acknowledge it. Not to shame them, but to reveal that what was once rejected by man has always been chosen by heaven. There is a woman who once found comfort in your suffering, who smiled privately when you were cast aside. She will soon see your name lifted by the very person she once warned others to avoid. Her words will return to her, not with vengeance, but with holy justice, and you chosen one will not have to lift a finger. Your silence has already won the battle. Your life will speak louder than any argument. You won't have to defend yourself. Your elevation will be your answer. You have wondered if the pain was all for nothing, if the betrayal, the delay, the isolation had any purpose. But God says every moment of sorrow, every sleepless night, every unanswered question, it was not punishment. It was preparation. What felt like abandonment was actually protection. What looked like rejection was divine redirection. While others were networking, scheming, building their platforms, God was building your foundation in secret. And now the unveiling has begun. Heaven is not promoting you for what you can do, but for who you chose to become while no one was watching. You chose humility over hype. You chose truth over trend. You chose surrender over striving. And heaven never forgot. Now your name is being whispered again, but this time in rooms where decisions are made, in conversations that shift seasons, in places you have not yet stepped into, but are already being prepared to enter. There is a moment coming when someone will mention you casually, not realizing they are being used by God to unlock a door. That mention will lead to a message. That message will lead to a meeting, and that meeting will change everything. When it happens, you will remember this message. You will remember that God promised. You will not have to chase what I've already assigned to find you. This rise is not about proving yourself to those who left. It is about becoming who you were always meant to be. And when they see it, those who turned away, those who dismissed you, they will not be able to deny that something greater was always resting on your life. You are not being elevated to impress. You are being elevated to fulfill, to restore, to rebuild, and to shine as a living testimony that God remembers, God restores, and God vindicates. Within the next few days, perhaps even within hours, there will be a shift, so subtle you might overlook it yet, so divine it will change the entire rhythm of your season. A message is coming, a connection, a voice you haven't heard in a long time, or maybe a name you haven't thought about in years. It will seem casual, almost coincidental, but nothing about it will be random. It will be the first visible thread in the divine tapestry God has been weaving behind the scenes. Do not dismiss it. Do not brush it off as chance. That moment, that call, that opportunity, it carries the fingerprint of God. Behind its simplicity is a door, and behind that door is something far greater than you can yet imagine. It may look ordinary on the surface, but its purpose is anything but. It is a holy appointment, wrapped in humility. God says, the next time your phone rings, the next time a message appears that catches your breath, do not underestimate it. I have gone ahead of you. I have prepared the way, and I am using what looks familiar to unlock what is eternal. That voice, that conversation, that unexpected moment, it is carrying a seed of restoration. It is laced with favor. It is charged with prophetic power. Something you believed was over Something you thought would never return, never heal, never bloom again, is being revisited. But not in the old form. This time it comes with peace. This time it comes with clarity. This time it comes with God's signature written all over it. You once asked, will I have to start all over? And heaven answers no. You were never starting over. You were being rerouted. You were being hidden. Your name was sealed in a secret place, protected from what would have corrupted it too soon. Now the seal is breaking. The scroll is opening, and your name is being released into the wind of fulfillment. It is your appointed hour. The wait has expired. The silence has spoken. The heavens have recorded your last act of obedience, your final decision to trust when it hurt the most. Because of that, something has been released. Angels are moving on your behalf, and the earth must now respond. The divine message is on its way. Will you recognize it? Will you respond? Will you trust that what's coming, though unfamiliar, is heaven's answer in disguise? The moment you say yes in your spirit, the shift will begin. The atmosphere will break open. The conversation will flow, and the restoration will unfold, layer by layer, answer by answer, word by word. Stay alert. Stay soft. Stay expectant, for what's coming next carries the weight of everything you've prayed for in silence. And it's almost here. You have learned to be cautious. The wounds of the past taught you to protect your heart with silence, with distance, with self-reliance. You've smiled through disappointments, held back your tears behind polite strength, and carried the weight of unanswered questions without showing the world your cracks. You trusted people who mishandled your soul. You gave to those who did not give back. And somewhere in the quiet aftermath, you told yourself you would never let it happen again. But God is speaking clearly now. This time will be different. There is someone prepared, not by charm, not by appearance, but by purpose. They carry what the others lacked: reverence, discernment, patience. They are not perfect, but they are appointed. They will not try to fix you, impress you, or control you. They will see you, and more importantly, they will carry the missing piece that aligns with the work I have done in you. C.S. Lewis in The Four Loves wrote, "Friendship is born at that moment when one person says to another, 'What, you too? I thought I was the only one.' This truth reflects the divine connection awaiting you. The one God sends will spark a sacred you too moment, where your hearts align in shared purpose and reverence, confirming heaven's appointment to break your cycle of isolation. You closed yourself off because the pain was too deep and the memory too fresh. You began to believe that protection meant isolation, that survival required solitude. But isolation is no longer your assignment. Your healing has reached a point where connection is no longer dangerous. It is necessary, and heaven is bringing someone who will not repeat the cycle but break it. You will know them not by how loudly they speak, but by how safe you feel in their presence. Their words won't rush you. Their eyes won't demand anything from you. They will honor your story, and they will not run when you reveal your scars. In fact, their presence will speak to the parts of you that have long been waiting to exhale. God says, "The betrayal of the last relationship will not define the next. I have tested the heart of the one I am sending. I have refined their intentions. I have prepared their path to cross yours, not for harm but for healing. This person is not coming to fill a void. They are coming to walk beside the wholeness you've fought hard to build. They will not distract you from your calling. They will remind you of it. And they will not pull you back. They will speak life into the ground beneath your feet so you can rise stronger. You've had to build walls, but now God is gently knocking, not to tear them down, but to lead someone through them with care. This time the connection will be led by peace. This time the friendship will not be built on need, but on destiny. This time the love will not end with you in pieces, but with both of you more whole than before. So breathe deeply, chosen one. Prepare your heart not with fear, but with faith. What's approaching is not a test. It's a fulfillment, and when it arrives, you will know this time God's hand is on it. There is a breakthrough coming to your life, but it will not arrive through striving stress or fear. You've been trained to expect resistance to brace, for disappointment to carry tension in your body, as if survival depends on constant vigilance. But this provision will come differently. It will not ask you to perform. It will not drain your peace. It will not cost you your rest. God says, this time it will arrive through favor, not force. There is a financial shift being prepared with your name written upon it, not to burden you but to bless you, not to inflate your ego but to fulfill your calling. This will not be wealth without purpose. It will be provision for vision. You have carried dreams in your heart that required more than what your hands could hold. And now heaven is responding, not in the way you expected, not in the form you predicted, but in a way that will leave you humbled and in awe. You will not need to beg for it. You will not need to chase it. You will not need to manipulate or compete. The blessing will find you. The seed you sowed when no one was watching, the time you gave without applause, the gift you released when it cost you everything, all of it has been counted. And God has determined that the return must begin. Someone who once forgot your name is about to remember it, but not out of guilt, out of clarity. They will be reminded supernaturally of your character, your consistency, your quiet strength, and when they do, doors will open that no resume could have unlocked. Emails will be sent, calls will be made. Your name will be spoken in favorable places, and what follows will not bring anxiety but relief. God says, I hid you not to punish you but to preserve your influence for the right time. I could not allow your name to rise too soon. If it had, it would have been mishandled, misunderstood, or monetized by the wrong people. But now the table has been set. The atmosphere has shifted, and the resources that once avoided you are now being drawn to your obedience. This financial breakthrough will not only sustain you, it will overflow. It will fund your assignment. It will support your next step. It will confirm what you carried in faith, even when your hands were empty. The return is coming through favor, through divine appointments, through unexpected release. And it will be enough not only for your need, but for those connected to your destiny. Do not let past lack convince you that this abundance is too good to be true. It is not. It is just in time. It is heaven's answer to your endurance. And when it comes, you will remember this truth: God did not forget. He just waited for the moment when his blessing would not burden your peace. That moment is now. Your name is not forgotten. It has not been buried beneath time, nor silenced by the voices that once tried to dismantle your identity. In the unseen realm, far above human judgment, public perception, and earthly limitation, your name has been written, sealed, and established in the courts of heaven. And what is sealed, there cannot be reversed. No accusation can override it. No rejection can nullify it. No delay can disrupt what has been divinely confirmed. God has examined your record, not as man does through metrics and status, but through motives and secret decisions. He saw when you chose humility over retaliation, when you held your peace instead of responding in anger, when you blessed instead of cursed, when you walked away from the chaos, not out of weakness, but out of deep, spiritual maturity. These moments, unnoticed by the world, were fully witnessed in heaven. They were not dismissed. They were weighed, and heaven returned a verdict over your life. Approved, appointed, released. While others were building loudly, performing visibly, chasing platforms and clout, you were being built in quietness. You allowed God to defend your name while others defended themselves. You remained planted while others pushed. You surrendered while others scrambled. And now, without having to force your way forward, your name is being carried into conversations you didn't arrange, into rooms you never thought you'd enter, and before people whose decisions will now align with heaven's timeline over your life. Not because you networked your way in, but because God has summoned you forward. The seal over your name is not a metaphor. It is divine reality. It carries authority. It carries timing. It carries protection. And because it was placed by the hand of God himself, no human hand can remove it. You don't have to prove yourself anymore. You don't have to chase validation or manipulate your way into opportunity. What heaven has sealed earth must now honor. The alignment has already taken place in the spirit realm, and the natural realm is being pulled into obedience. So walk boldly, speak with clarity, move with quiet confidence. You don't carry hype, you carry heaven's confirmation. And yet this seal was not placed simply so you could be restored or affirmed. It was placed because you are being positioned for influence, not applause, for assignment, not attention. Your survival wasn't just for your own sake. God hid you not to withhold from you, but to shape you for something greater than you could have carried before. You are not emerging for vanity. You are rising for impact. People are waiting for what you carry, not because you're perfect, but because your story is filled with power. Your wounds now hold wisdom. Your scars now speak truth. And the road you thought disqualified you has now become the very credential that gives your voice weight. There are places your feet have not yet stepped, but your name is already being anticipated. Atmospheres are being stirred. A space is being prepared. A need is rising, and your life is the answer to it. This is not about becoming a celebrity. This is about becoming a vessel. You will be asked to write, to speak, to lead, not as a performance, but as an outpouring. The very phrases you once whispered through tears just to survive will now become the sentences that set captives free. God says, you were not just saved to be safe. You were preserved to be sent. The weight you carry is not a burden. It is a mantle. The authority resting on your voice is not random. It is a transfer. I am enlarging your influence, not for admiration, but for effectiveness. You will not be elevated to impress, but to impact. You will not be followed for fame, but because your faithfulness is bearing fruit that others are hungry for. So get ready not just to receive, but to release. You are no longer walking alone. You are no longer hidden. The season of silent strength is turning into a season of spiritual significance. And behind you, a harvest is already forming. Not because you chased it, but because you obeyed. And now everything you endured is about to multiply not only for you, but through you. In the hours and days ahead, you may begin to notice things shifting around you. Subtle changes, sudden pauses, unexpected silence. People you once spoke with daily may pull away without warning. Certain conversations will feel out of rhythm. Some doors may close without explanation. Do not be alarmed. These are not attacks. These are signs, divine signals that the atmosphere is being cleared for what is next. God is not punishing you. He is preparing you. He is removing the noise. He is silencing distractions. He is rearranging your path, not out of cruelty, but out of deep intentionality. The silence of some is not your failure. It is confirmation that heaven has already moved you forward. What feels like loss is actually alignment. There are people who were only assigned to your past, not your future. There are relationships that served a purpose but not a permanent place. And when their presence fades, don't chase after them. Don't try to resurrect what God has intentionally removed. You are not being abandoned. You are being redirected. And what remains in your life after this divine pruning will be pure. What stays will be rooted in truth. What rises will be righteous. You don't need to question every change. You don't need to understand every closed door. You only need to trust that what's happening beneath the surface is making room for what you were born to carry. Some of the transitions may come suddenly. A conversation that once gave you peace might now bring unease. A connection that once energized you may begin to drain you. This is not chaos, it's clarity. God is cleansing the environment around your calling. The path ahead of you requires space, purity, and stillness. So if you feel tension in your spirit, if your surroundings begin to shake, remember this is not destruction, it is delivery. Trust the shaking. Trust the shedding. You are not losing yourself. You are being stripped of what cannot travel with you into the next glory. If only you could see what heaven sees, your heart would no longer tremble. You would stop replaying the failures of yesterday and fearing that somehow you missed your moment. You haven't missed anything. In fact, you're walking directly into it. The warfare has intensified because you are closer than you've ever been. The pressure has grown heavier because the breakthrough is now within reach. The enemy has thrown confusion and fatigue at you, not because you're weak, but because you're too close to stop. He wants you to retreat at the threshold. But God is whispering in this hour, don't turn around. You are not at the end. You are at the edge. You are closer than your mind can calculate, closer than your emotions can grasp. The very thing you have prayed for, cried over, and waited on is already unfolding in the unseen, and soon it will manifest in your hands. When it arrives, you will recognize it not by logic but by peace. It will lift the weight from your chest. It will awaken something you thought had died. It will bring tears not of sorrow but of overwhelming gratitude, because you will finally see it was worth the wait, worth the wilderness, worth the warfare. You are not chasing miracles anymore. You are stepping into them. The timeline is no longer someday. The timeline is now. What you thought was delayed was being refined. What you thought was withheld was being secured. And what you thought was forgotten was being finished in detail. Every quiet, yes, every hidden sacrifice, every surrendered moment has led to this place. You are standing at the threshold of manifestation. And when it comes, you won't have to strive to receive it. It will fit. It will flow. It will confirm everything. Heaven has been whispering into your spirit. Keep walking. Keep trusting. You are closer than you think, and nothing can stop what God is now releasing. Today is not just another date. The 15th of June has been marked by heaven set apart long before you took your first breath. This moment was written into eternity's script, reserved for the one whose faith would outlast the silence, whose obedience would endure without applause. And that one is you. You did not earn this by performance. You didn't manipulate your way into divine favor. This shift is not the result of noise titles or recognition. It was birthed in the quiet places, in the choices you made when no one was looking, in the restraint you showed when you had every right to retaliate, in the surrender you offered when your emotions screamed for something else. It was the hidden yes that moved heaven. God says, I have seen every moment you chose me. I have watched your spirit bend but never break. I have waited for the appointed time, not because you weren't ready, but because the earth wasn't. Now the time has come, and I have released the reward. The movement has already begun. The heavens are not still. They are alive with purpose. Angels are moving. Favor is being unlocked. Conversations are being stirred with your name woven into them like a thread of divine memory. You may not feel it yet, but the shift is real. What was once withheld is now being drawn to you, not with chaos but with clarity, not with noise but with authority. This is not emotional hype. This is holy alignment. You are not being invited into a fleeting moment. You are being called into fulfillment. What began in pain is ending in power. What was meant to bury you is now being used to build you. From this day forward, nothing remains the same. Your steps will no longer be hesitant. They will be guided. Your strength will not be drained. It will be renewed. Your heart will not ache in confusion. It will heal with understanding. Your name, once buried in shadows, will rise in light. And the very story they assumed had ended will become a living testimony, a well of hope for generations to come. This is not the end of your wilderness. This is the beginning of your unveiling, the moment when the hidden one becomes the revealed one, when the quiet faith becomes public fruit, when the whispers of destiny become undeniable reality. Heaven has made its decree. The waiting room is closing. The curtain is lifting. The seal has been broken. The scroll has been opened. The angels are dispatched. The gate is unlocked. The time is now. Welcome to the fulfillment. Welcome to the day everything changes.